Guys, 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 I got you. Just be sure you've already watched the first 2 parts of this series. Last time we witnessed the squad take down their very first Ustral, but in the world of Grimgar, it's been 4 months since then. Level 5. Hear me out and try not to laugh. This book kicks off with the squad attacking another Ustral. However, this time they kill it in just a few minutes without any problems. This fight might seem kind of redundant, but it's meant to show just how much the squad has grown since the last novel. After slaying the Ustral, the squad heads deeper into the Wonder Hole, passing through the Ant Nest and walking through the Demon City. The residents of the Demon City are satyrs, who are very annoying, but otherwise harmless if left unprovoked. It's after exiting the Demon City and nearing their destination that the squad finds a brand new path. And no, I don't mean the squad got lost. A new tunnel has appeared out of nowhere, and it definitely wasn't here a few days ago. Mary then prevents Kuzaku from exploring the tunnel just as Kikawa arrives. If you don't remember, Kikawa came to Grimgar at the same time as the squad, and he was also shown inside the tavern a few times. Kikawa is, well, unique, and he is in a party that is famous for being as eccentric as they are reckless. This party is known as the Tokis, and consists of Tokimune, a paladin, Kikawa, a warrior, Mimori, a warrior turned mage, Tada, a warrior turned priest, Inui, a thief turned warrior turned hunter with Chunibyo syndrome, and lastly Anna, who is a cute foul-mouthed priest and is basically a glorified mascot. Haru has a brief discussion with Tokimune, and they decide that they will explore this new path together. Ranta summons the newly evolved Zodiac just as they begin to explore this unknown tunnel, which gives me a moment to explain. So a large part of this volume is spent interacting with the Tokis and Zodiac. It is hella entertaining, but none of it really affects the plot, so if you're interested in it, you'll need to buy the books for yourself. And if you use the link in the description, it will even help support the channel. Anyways, our group reaches the end of the tunnel where they find a bunch of rooms filled with what can only be described as monster eggs. They search the first room, don't really find anything special, and decide that they've had enough excitement for one day, so they return to the outpost. Later that night, Haru goes out drinking alone, and on his way home, he bumps into Mimori, who seems to be flirting with him. Now it's the next day, and the squad and Tokis return to the egg rooms, where they stumble across a monster. After confirming it's a single enemy, the Tokis rush in with a shield throw, knocking the bat-like creature to the ground. They attempt to interrogate it, but it tries to run away, forcing Tada to kill it with a single blow from his warhammer. Mimori then randomly says that she wants to own Haru, which in turn causes Mary to respond with an emotionless "congratulations." They continue to search the egg rooms, and in the final room, they find a tunnel which leads straight down. Everyone carefully descends the tunnel, where they begin to hear a lot of chattering. Haru goes alone to scout ahead, where he finds a room filled with a whole bunch of bats. Tada, Ranta, and Haru enter the nest together, where the bats all go quiet. But still, they show no sign of aggression, so the group continues through the nest when all of a sudden Zodiac disappears, and they begin to feel a slight breeze. The cave opens up into an area that goes on in every direction further than the eye can see. This area has no sun, but yet everything is evenly lit with the colors of the evening sky. The group deems this new world the Dusk Realm, and then they head home to the outpost to gather supplies. The following morning, the squad wakes up bright and early and heads to the meeting area just outside of the Demon City to meet up with the Tokis. They wait around for a while, but the Tokis never show up, so the squad proceeds alone. Upon reaching the bat nest, they find Kikawa limping toward them. It turns out that the Tokis didn't wait for them as planned, and after being ambushed and injured in the Dusk Realm, they sent Kikawa to run for help. Kikawa then describes the type of enemies they encountered, and also stated that healing magic doesn't work in the Dust Realm. Look, I'm gonna save you the long explanation. Ranta and Mary's god-based magic can't be used, but Shiho's elemental-based magic can. The squad enters into the Dusk Realm, with Kikawa as their navigator, and they begin down the hill, where they encounter a friendly-looking dog with a single eye. Yume tries to befriend the dog, but it turns tail to run. So Shiho roots it in place, just as the dog begins growing armor all over its body. The boys surround and kill it with relative ease, and continue on their way. However, a few moments later, 9 more dogs arrive surrounding the squad. Even though the dogs have a number advantage, they are still hesitant to attack, and it's due to this that the squad decides to go on the offensive. The squad launches a coordinated strike, quickly killing multiple enemies, which causes the rest of the dogs to flee. The squad continues on their path, arriving at a giant crumbling structure made out of white stone. A few moments later, they find Inui and Tada fighting against 4 humanoid enemies, each with a single eye and a sheet over their bodies. Each of these enemies wields a spear, but it is 8 versus 4, so it doesn't really take all that long before the enemies are slain. It turns out Tada and Inui were running decoy so that the other 3 Tokis could escape. Tada then leads the way further into the ruins, which turns into more of a maze. Upon entering the maze, the group finds another Cyclops, except he is wielding a shield and a faintly glowing sword. Tada and Kikawa go on the offensive, where they discover that the sword seems to be imbued with lightning magic, shocking anything and everything that it touches. At the same time, 3 spear Cyclops appear, but Shiho is able to put them asleep with a new spell. The squad then uses the Cyclops' spears to surround the Shocky Cyclops, which opens up an opportunity for a backstab. After the battle, Ranta wasted no time discarding his sword and claiming the Shocky sword as his trusty new blade, giving it the epic name of Lightning Sword Dolphin. The squad is struggling, but continuing their search through the maze, when all of a sudden Haru has a bright idea. He decides to climb to the roof to get a better look at their surroundings, and it actually works out as he's able to spot the remaining Tokis off in a distance. The squad climbs onto the roof and begins to follow Haru toward the Tokis. They come to a point where they are forced to cross a small gap, where Haru looks down and sees a white, lion-headed giant looking up at him. Haru dodges its initial attack as Tada, Kikawa, Ranta, and Inui drop through the roof to engage the giant. Shiho's stun magic is more or less ineffective, and Yume's arrows bounce off of its body. Haru doesn't like the idea he just came up with, but he goes through with it, leaping from the roof onto the giant's shoulder in order to stab it in the eye. This causes the giant to begin thrashing around, so Ranta smacks it with Lightning Sword Dolphin. The sword shock effect is just as ineffective as Shiho's magic, but the split-second stun was just long enough for Haru to dive to the ground. The long fall broke Haru's arm, and he orders everyone to run toward the Tokis. When out of the corner of his eye, he spots Tokimune jump from the roof onto the giant to attack its face, before gracefully stepping to the ground. Tokimune then blocks the giant's punch and runs back up its arm to once again pummel its face. As he returns to the ground, Tada comes out of nowhere with a front flip, crushing the giant's knee. The squad regroups and surrounds the giant as Shiho unleashes a lightning spell. Haru gets a second idea, and he orders Ranta to relentlessly attack with Lightning Sword Dolphin. You see, a single hit has little to no effect, but non-stop hits from this sword is able to stun lock the giant. Yume uses this time to rapidly shoot arrows at the giant's eye, and Tokimune scales the creature to do the same with his sword. Tada then performs another flip attack, crushing the giant's knee, which allows everyone to safely escape. Though just before exiting the ruins, they come to a 4-way intersection where there is enemies coming from every direction. Shiho puts the right lane to sleep, while the frontline fighters handle the other sides. Yume supports from the rear, while Haru finishes off the sleeping enemies. As he kills the last one, 3 more Cyclops appear, which he is struggling to handle. Inui suddenly appears, ripping off his eye patch and demolishing 2 of the Cyclops. From here on out, Haru's head is in a haze due to all of his injuries, and he actually ends up being carried out of the Dusk Realm by Kikawa. However, one thing that he does remember is spotting a certain giant way off in the distance that seemed tall enough to reach the sky. After re-entering the Wonder Hole, Ranta realizes that Lightning Sword Dolphin has lost its magical ability, and Mimori asks out Haru, which he politely declines. But you know that giant I mentioned that reaches the sky? Yeah, he'll be in the next one. Now, if you want to support the channel, there is 3 options. You could like and subscribe, you could buy the books through my Amazon link, or you could just join my Patreon. Speaking of which, shout out to my 2 newest patrons, Restarting and Phrygian, and as always, thanks for watching everyone. I hope to see you next time.